then.
Well, what's up? All right, we back on the. We got Bishop Nathan Wilson here. We got Reverend Father over here, Lorenzo. To get into this discussion, we're talking about Lucifer, Satan, the devil, and the history and the interpretations that many people have of this individual. Let's see. I know Nathan said he took some notes. We already talked about that. Lorenzo, you said you have already stuff in your head. Let me ask you this, because this is where I want to start. Before we go any further, do you think the devil, Satan, and Lucifer are all one and the same, or do you think they're different characteristics of possibly the one and the same?
No, they're all like different deities. When you say a devil worshiper, you're talking about a sprinkling of devils. There's the devil, and then there's the Satan, but these ideas, cultivated over a long period of time, where they added different features from one deity to another, and now we got this idea that the devil is Satan. They just call him Satan now. But yeah. We're gonna get into it. We're gonna break it down and see where all these ideas transpired, how they all came together and formed what we know as
100%
Satan.
Agree with Lorenzo here as well. Different characters that have been attributed and evolved over time. Mm-hmm. Lucifer didn't appear until the Latin Vulgate of the 4th century. Satan, in regards, had different beliefs in Judaism, as the Jews don't believe in the devil, unless you go to the Essene Gnostic Jews, which did believe in the devil, not all, though. Some believe that, say, for instance, Yahweh was a demiurge. Satan being adversary or accuser, being its meaning, being a title. It could be anyone that is accusing you or against you, and it's not always a bad thing. There's a case, I've written it down as well, in 2 Samuel and in Leviticus, I think it is, not Leviticus. I think it's Chronicles. Either way, there's two cases that we have Satan being used to cause a census against Israel in the case of using David. And in the other text, we have the Lord being Yahweh causing a census. So the Jews themselves not believing in the devil, they had multiple beliefs of Satan. Some didn't even believe in Satan at all. The Sadducees didn't believe in any angels. The Pharisees believing that Satan was an angelic being in Yahweh's court, and his job was to seduce mankind away from God, so that way mankind had free will. They didn't have the belief that Satan was evil at all. Some had the belief that there was Yetzirah, I believe it is, which is the inclination of evil, of man's free will to do evil, which is quite interesting as well. But in regards to the Essenes, multiple different factions of Essenes, different sects, the ones that believed in the devil, they viewed the Sadducees and Pharisees as usurpers of the temple, and they believed that one day they would inherit back the temple. And so they had nothing to do with it, viewing it as corrupt. So they viewed, as they worship El Elyon, they would have viewed the Yahweh's cults as the usurpers, and then thus viewing this God as the devil. And it would make sense to why Jesus in John 8:44 even states the devil, as it obviously shows that he's a different lot of Judaism than compared to the Pharisees and Sadducees, as they didn't believe in the devil. The Sadducees especially. as they didn't believe in an afterlife. They believed that God was totally beyond this realm and incomprehensible. So they had a very different.
Lucifer in Latin is, or in Spanish is luz, and it just means light. And Lucifer is the light bearer, or the bringer of light. And back in the day, that, you know, pretty much meant like the enlightener, the one who brought knowledge. And later on, it was, I guess, tied to the serpent in the garden, and the garden was then later on tied to the dragon in Revelations. I believe it was Saint Augustine who made that connection. But yeah, that, you know, the Orthodox have been you know, misinterpreting, you know, for many years, and it's like they've been just playing a game of telephone or whatever, how you tell one person one thing and one person tells another and another person tells another, until you got a whole different story by the end of the you know, the story there. So yeah, Lucifer just meant the light bearer, somebody who brought light, something like a Prometheus character, you know, someone who brought the knowledge and the technology and gave it to mankind against God's will.
You said that.
Yeah, against God's will. Yeah. No, yeah, go for it.
No, keep going. No, because you said something that struck my curiosity, and I want you to keep going, because I'm gonna pull it up, and then I'm gonna talk about it when you.
There was so in the beginning there was Enki and Tiamat, and there I get them mixed up with, you know, who was the good one or the bad one, but there it was either Enki or Tiamat who went against the will of the other and decided that they were going to help out the humans, and that, you know, it was incorporated into the Prometheus character, that he was the one to bring us the technology and the fire. And which kind of reminds me of that one movie, Quest for Fire, back in the day. I don't know if you guys seen that movie, Quest for Fire, where the cavemen were trying to harness the fire and not let it go out, because that fire is what kept them warm. Yeah, it kept them warm, and that was like the first form of technology, you know, the fire, that they could cook food and things like that. So the Prometheus character, the light bringer, or the Lucifer, was not necessarily an evil figure. You know, in ancient times, it was never really a figure like that was evil. It was only until the church later decided that they didn't want people to know, you know, that they were being fooled, or what do you call it, given the okey doke. You know what I'm saying?
I also agree with the story with the whole misconcept of Lucifer challenging God. I think this arises from Jesus challenging Yahweh, and thus he called himself Lightbringer, Morning Star, and the whole misconception of Lucifer being mentioned in the Latin Vulgate comes from a misunderstanding of a Babylonian king who was stated that you're going to fall like the morning star, because as he lost favor with God. I want to read something quickly from the Wisdom of Solomon.
Yeah, go ahead.
2.4, and this is written 50 years before Jesus. But through the envy of the devil, death entered the world, and those who belonged to his party experienced it. But in 23, it says this, so before that, because God created human beings for incorruption and made them in the image of his own nature. So it's but through the devil, death entered the world. Now, that's in the Greek Septuagint. So you'll find the word for devil being used here. But as said, with the multiple forms of Judaism that didn't believe the devil, where did this come from? Most people think that it was a friendly borrowing from Zoroastrianism, but they haven't found Gnosticism. They avoid it. They're dickheads. So when you come to this text, you find an Essene mystic Gnostic group that is mentioning the devil. Who did they view the devil was? Yahweh. So that made Christian scholars, and especially a lot of Jews, which rejected the Wisdom of Solomon as a corrupted text, uncomfortable, because it makes more of their God look like a dick. You can see this in the book of Job, when later on Satan, being an adversary, well, the servant of God in this text, as he can't act outside of God's command. So the only people Satan kills are the kids of Job with God's permission, Yahweh's permission. So both of these cases make these gods child killers. So in reference to this, the Christians see that as a problem, so they're saying now it's the devil. But even if it's the devil, he's still not acting outside of this God's command. So again, when we go into the story of Samuel, 2 Samuel, with, I believe, it's God causing David to have a census, and then we go into the other verse where it's Satan causing David to have causing him to cause trouble amongst the Jewish people. This is a contradiction. So this would show an Essene group that believed that Yahweh, who served his father El, served the role of the judger. And this is why you have different elements in these texts. Why they contradict is because they were written by different forms of Judaism with their own beliefs and compiled into one book. And because of that, it's messed up with things.
And the Bible says, like, you will know them by their fruits, right? And Satan is just one of God's counsels. So he's an emanation of Yahweh. So he is basically like I guess there would be no Satan if there was no Yahweh. They're basically, Satan or the devil or whatever evil entity is just another emanation of the God Yahweh. He's the son of Yahweh, basically. And in the Bible, it says, you will know them by their fruit. And back in the day, the philosophers of the time, they came to the conclusion that God is all good and nothing evil can come from good. This character of Satan is just one of Yahweh's councilmen, somebody who in the book of Job, you see that they're sort of like friends making a bet, like a sports bet about Job. Let's see if he still loves you if I wreak havoc on his life, and like you see what was done to Jesus. A perfectly innocent man was crucified, and and it had to be done because that was to fulfill Yahweh's prophecy. And like sometimes it gets me wondering, like, what would Yahweh do to one of us if he got his hands on us? If he was willing to do that to his only begotten son, and he was willing to place this bet with Job. So it's almost like sometimes I feel like God might be placing bets on us to see if we're stay loyal to him. And he's willing to terrorize our lives, whether we worship him or not. So this Yahweh character, he's I'm kind of feeling like he might be the guy that we're looking for, and guilty as charged.
There's also contradictions in the teachings of Yahweh and the teachings of Jesus. A lot of contradictions. But one thing I want to point out too, there were some Jewish Christians and Gnostic Christians that believed that Jesus was a ransoming of this world from Yahweh, in a sense, sent by his father, which was El, or an unknowable God. So we have very different complex beliefs. But we have in the story of Deuteronomy 22.20 to 21 and Leviticus 20.10 to 11, where Yahweh orders adulterous women be stoned to death. Jesus goes up to the crowd and saves a woman from being stoned, which is very different. So he challenges the law of Yahweh. Yeah.
He's a rebel throughout the Bible. Yes. Our Jesus is a rebel throughout the Bible. He is opposing the Jewish law, or he is trying to free us from the ransom of Yahweh's law.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And in Deuteronomy 32.8 to 9, in both the Septuagint and the Dead Sea Scrolls would be in plate 172b 3171240. Sorry about the long number. But states here that Yahweh inherits Israel from his father El Elyon in the Dead Sea Scroll, basically. In the Septuagint, it just states he inherits it from El, the Most High. So here we're showing different gods and inheritance. We also have Jesus challenging the Yahwist cult in John 10.8. The video I got you to make for me with the voice of Jesus, Lorenzo. Jesus states that all who came before me were thieves and pirates, or if you don't like the word pirate, rebel, or bandicura, or even predator, or plunderer. So if we go to Genesis 14.13 in the Greek Septuagint, it states Abraham the Parate. If we keep reading that text, Abraham is taking not only his nephew back who was captured, but he takes the tribe that captured him, their women, which would have been young girls. In Numbers 31.32 to 35, Yahweh orders 16,000 virgins to be forced into marriages, and 32 to either be sacrificed to him or placed in the temple as doves, virgin brides. So we have this Yahweh being a god of child marriage. And in Judges 11.30, Japhar offers a human sacrifice, his only virgin daughter. Yahweh accepts. So we have a man-eating god. We have a demonic being that accepts virgin sacrifices and child marriages. This is why Jesus goes in the temple and calls them laestes, predators of children, rebels of children, or rebels of their own people, went to say. So
in the Gospel of Philip, it says God is a man-eater, you know.
It was believed that he would eat those sacrifices, as it was believed that all gods, when you would sacrifice something, whether it be fruit or meat, the gods would eat it. It would eat its essence.
Oh, fuck.
So that's complicating.
I've been reading over and over again, trying to prepare for this podcast, the David Litwa's Evil Creator. And he connects him to this ass deity, the donkey, and they used to praise this donkey figure. The Jewish people in the temple would praise this donkey figure, and some believe that this donkey figure came from the Egyptian god Seth, who was depicted as a donkey, or had the head of a donkey and the body of a man or whatever. So so this character Seth was also a god of storms, and he was depicted as an evil god.
Egyptians made that connection too.
Yeah. So in a way, yeah, Yahweh is this ass deity who was never really a good guy until later on. I don't know when he made that transition, but you got a bunch of the Jewish early church fathers who made that their deity, made Yahweh the one that they've been praising. And then Marcion and other church fathers, who was a Gnostic, he made this connection to the Yahweh being like the demiurge. And in Plato's Timaeus, the demiurge wasn't an evil god, but definitely the craftsman, the ruler and creator of this world, the chief archon. The
Magoria had a similar view too. Jewish Gnostics of the 1st century BC, they didn't view the demiurge as evil either, but a lesser god that was creating for the will of the most supreme God.
Yeah, and if you think about it, all throughout the Bible, it says, that Satan is the ruler of this realm, or the ruler of the world. And then you think well, shit, how many Christians and Muslims are populating this planet, and they all praise this Allah or God, who is Yahweh, or another word for Yahweh. You can call him whatever you want. It's this evil deity, this evil force who rules the world. And they say what is it? The greatest trick the devil ever pulled was convincing the world he didn't exist,
or he was God,
or that he was God. And you know what I mean? You got 80% of the world or something that are Christian or Muslim. A good fucking percent of the world believes in this deity, and we got wars, famine, destruction all throughout this planet. And it's I guess lately you can feel it weighing down on you that there's more homelessness, there's more sadness, depression, anxiety, suicide is skyrocketing. There's a lot of shit that's happening just recently. And if we want to point out the devil, and really get to the core of who this character is, he's the one who's going to drive you to drink or use drugs, abuse substances. He's going to drive you to be angry and short-tempered and cause you to make the decisions that make you self-destructive and make you ruin your own life and end up homeless in the streets and hating life because he took over you and made you perceive that this world was destined to be doomed. So yeah,
also
like
too, which is
yeah,
hardcore. The reason
I
I want to
honestly
put that
feel
on
like
is
the devil
a child
is
around themselves.
Yeah, the devil is present within us all, and he's causing us to make the wrong decisions and to judge people and, be self-destructive. The devil wants you to ruin your life.
I always like to just sit back and take notes because one thing that I'm good at is looking up what people are talking about, right? The first thing I asked was, basically your description of the devil, and you guys gave me your description. And if I was to give my description, it'd be like somebody read pitchfork, horns, right? That's what's depicted in most things that's on television, magazines, and the books and stuff like that, right? Lorenzo, you actually mentioned Inky and Enlil, so this is pretty interesting to me. Hold on.
Also regarding horns as well, there's an old picture and statue of Moses with horns.
I was going to get into that, yeah, but I'm glad you pointed that out. Yeah, Moses was actually the first one with horns. But
I also want to read out something too, if that's okay. I want to read out a little bit of Deuteronomy 22.20. And the reason why I will mention this is because of one particular text in here.
Which one is it?
Deuteronomy 22.20.
22.20. All right, gotcha.
If you want, you can even do the honors of reading it, Tyrone.
And do you mind fixing the screen, Tyrone? Because we're just like three squares on the side of the screen right now.
Oh, you can't? Can you see the shared screen that I'm about to? Do you see this?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. If you're about to show us something, that's cool for sure.
Yeah. I'll show you real quick.
All right.
So because you mentioned
it was either Enki and Tiamat or Enlil.
Yeah, you mentioned Inky and Enlil, right? So I read this book from Anton Parks right here, right? And it's a really good book. It gives you the actual cuneiform tablets when you want to reference what they're talking about or what he's talking about. So in his book, because y'all talked about the delivery of what basically the knowledge that the devil, Satan, Lucifer, whatever you guys, however many people want to put it, gave to humankind. And right here, according to the cuneiform tablet identifier CBS 8322, face B, column 4, lines 1 through 10, it says, he had brought metallurgy. Our only Lord had spread the secret of the abode. In front of the broken wall of the settlement of the gods, he had brought it. Until the protective limits of the forest, there he had released the secret of metallurgy and making, of the power of the abode of the grain and dairy products, of the property of the aromatic woods, of the great lofty fortress of Enlil. Now, hold on, I'm not done yet now. Right here, clay tablet sources, Mesopotamian, and then it has the New American Standard Bible next to it. CBS 11065-B, column 3 says, the gods find out that human beings initiated by serpent Enki now having clothing. Then this correlates to Genesis 3:10-11. Gods find out that men and women are no longer naked thanks to the serpent. Now remember the word serpent. We're just remembering that for a second. Then it goes into, because I always come up with sources, and every time I talk about something, I have to be able to read it, so that way it's not my word, it's what's written. So CBS 1165-C, column 6 says, the artisan Enki revealed the secret of metallurgy to the woman, while his sons, the great messenger observers, cast metal and cohabited with her, the mother of the human race. The mother knows the secret of the gods, the tool revealed. And then it correlates with New American Standard Bible, Genesis 6:1-5, and the book of Enoch, chapter 8:1. The sons of God came onto the daughters of men, and they have they bear children to them. The Nephilim, which brought corruption among mankind, Azazel transmitted the secret of the gods, the knowledge of metals, to humanity, and so corrupted it. So basically, the knowledge that was given to humans was metallurgy, which led to agriculture, which could help us survive, right? But also destroy us when we create weapons of mass destruction. Well, you guys mentioned Yahweh, right? So I'm going to kick a little bit of knowledge about what I know about Yahweh. So according to, hold on, let me fix this. Let me fix the screen, y'all. Trying to get us on there. There we go. So Yahweh, from what I understand in some texts, he is also known as the God of war. Well, now I spent time in combat 4 different times, and I got to tell you, to be known as the God of war, you got to do some crazy shit to get that title, right? And I'll just leave it like that. But there are texts that says that he may possibly be the God of war. But when you said earlier about Enki and Enlil, one went against the other. So Enlil basically told Enki, or the Anuna / Anunnaki agreed that they weren't going to let the regular humans know that a flood was coming, right? So they all agreed to it, but Enki told the Zia Sutra, Noah, about the flood, right? And he didn't tell him directly, but he told him behind a wall, right? Something that was in between them, something that basically a way that says he didn't tell him directly about it, right? So that was the thing about them. Now Satan, devil, and Lucifer, I have right here, which is my favorite Bible, the New Jerusalem Bible. It's also a study guide. It's a very thick book. It gives you everything that you want. So I went in the back of it, and it has a study guide in the back, and it says Satan. It says the Hebrew word means adversary and is used in general sense, then in particular of one of the sons of God who is responsible on God's behalf for testing and proving human beings. Okay? Testing and proving human beings. Like you was talking about how earlier that, they're setting bets on us up there, right? That's what you said, Lorenzo.
Yeah. Oh yeah, they love it. They love it.
So only in one chapter 21:1, does it become a proper name. In the New Testament, he is interchangeably called the devil and known as the accuser, and also actively promotes evil, claiming power over the world. So, and then it says in the Johannine writings, the devil Satan is a fundamentally evil entity. So that's why I asked you if you guys think they were one in the same, right? And then
the Johannine is like the Gospel of John.
Yeah,
Johannine is the Jewish version of John.
Yeah.
Notice, by the way, it said only the New Testament. Again, with that person, they didn't read Wisdom of Solomon, which is an Old Testament text. There's a couple of Old Testament texts that are actually banned from the Old Testament because they align too much with Christianity, so the Jews rejected them. Because
in the Enki and Enlil, I believe that's the Enuma Elish, right? I believe it's the Enuma Elish text.
Yeah, well, they got different versions. Like they didn't have the Enuma Elish, the Ata Hasis, and so on and so forth. But in the Epic of Gilgamesh. But the reason why I brought that up was because, like I said, from what I understand, Yahweh is known as the God of war. Now, I also have right here next to me the Bible charts, maps, and timelines, right? And it gives you all this great information. Like, man, it gives you a lot of great information. Yeah, so it has the meaning of Yahweh in here, right? And it says, I am the one who is the self-existent one, right? And God never changes. His promises never fail. When we are faithless, he is faithful. Okay. And what I find very interesting is that like we talked about how Moses was the first one with horns. If horns is a description of the devil, so if I was to see Moses, as they said that he is the first one with horns, then I would automatically believe he was the devil, or anybody in that position that has those type of horns, right? Because they said that he's supposed to be the first one. Now, what is Moses mostly known for? Murdering somebody, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah. Lifting up the waters, Red Sea. But another thing is too,
that's it. Yeah, if you want to look at Yeah, but that's if you want to look at the good of him. But if you want to look at
Yeah.
the bad of him, he literally murdered
Go
somebody
to Numbers,
and then
bro.
ran
Numbers
off on
41.
top of that.
He orders through God. It's actually God's orders through the orders of Yahweh. Child marriage in Numbers 31.32 to 35. The virgins being married. The virgins back then were aged anywhere between 3 to 16 years old. Most of them would have been children. You know,
that's true.
I would like you to read something quickly, Tyrone. That Deuteronomy 22.20 to verse 22. So just a sentence.
Hold on.
And this is the orders of Yahweh. And this is something
22:20?
Yeah, 22.20.
22.20.
So this is regarding what happens to a virgin if she's not a virgin when she has sex with a partner. Now remember,
okay, here we go.
This
is according to the New Jerusalem Bible. 22:20. It says, but if the accusation that the girl cannot show evidence of virginity is substantiated, she must be taken out, and at the door of her father's house, her fellow citizens must stone her to death for having committed on infamy in Israel. Yeah.
Now, that's the laws of Yahweh. You also find that in Leviticus 20.10 to 11 as well. So these laws of harming women, Yahweh hates women. He punishes Eve and then punishes all women with childbirth pains. We have Jesus accepting women. Those who Yahweh rejects in, I believe it is Leviticus 21.16 to 24, Yahweh rejects those with disabilities. Ones who have hunchbacks or shrunken limbs.
Well, you couldn't have it. Yeah. Well, yeah, that's actually throughout the whole Bible where you can't have any type of
and exactly the people who Jesus was associating with. So again, breaking the laws of Yahweh because he didn't worship this God. That's why he called it the devil. He wouldn't call his own father the devil in John 8.44 if he was calling their God a devil, which is the God of the Pharisees and Sadducees. Funny thing is something that all Jews and Christians as well are technically breaking, not really Muslims, they kind of have a different God, but still they kind of breaking it too, because in the Quran it states that the Bible is the ultimate truth, and if they want to fall back, if they don't trust the Quran, go to the Bible. So in Ezekiel 4.12 we have Yahweh demanding his people, when not in Israel, to bake bread in human poo and eat it where everyone can see them. And if you're a priest, then you can use cow shit instead. But that's pretty nasty. So if you're not in Israel, that's how you're technically meant to eat as a punishment. So the pagans and foreigners, Gentiles can see you. So they understand that you're of God's people, which makes no sense. Yahweh's also meant to be scared of poo. Like he's not scared, angry of it. If he steps in it, he will punish the person that it belongs to in their family. So it even states in the Old Testament how to bury a poo. It's funny. And there were even Christians arguing over whether or not Jesus could take a poo, which is funny. But Jesus actually even stated about what goes through comes out. It's already been.
Yeah, there was some people that believed that he was completely divine and that he didn't even go to the restroom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Kind of silly.
Yeah. Some people still believe that today. But yeah. Pretty crazy. We also have the story in 2 Kings 2.23 to 25, where the 42 children are killed by Yahweh. So again, Jesus states whoever harms a child in the Gospel of Matthew should drown themselves. It can be harm or cause a stumble. So again, contradicting Jesus' teachings. So this is why he calls them the devil, why he calls those who came before him pirates and thieves, and why he calls the Pharisees and Sadducees the same thing, pirates.
And, early church fathers like Marcion and Polycarp, they had when they first encountered each other, Marcion asks Polycarp, "Do you recognize me?" And Polycarp replies, "I do recognize you. You are the firstborn of Satan." And Marcion was one of the early church fathers who was a Gnostic, who created one of the first compilations of the canon that was later rejected. But yeah, he was pretty much a Gnostic who saw the demiurge as an evil creator, and that would be like Yahweh. So yeah, Marcion was one of these people that pretty much saw the God of Judaism or whatever, this deity, as an evil creator. And then you got Polycarp saying, yeah, I do recognize you. You're the first son of Satan. Well, that's how it kind of goes. It's like the accuser, the accuser, the accuser. Let's just like completely bump heads. And, you know, I would say that's you know, what the devil does, what the Satan does is just, it causes, you know, lack of communication between the two. Do
you know why Marcion was mostly hated, where it really began, which is really interesting? Before I say this, it was taboo in the ancient past, even in ancient Greece, to publicly to release the mysteries. That's what Marcion was hated for.
Oh, yeah.
He gave a whole crowd a psychedelic wine in the Eucharist, and they recorded seeing Jesus and the angels lifting down from heaven. After that, it was excommunicated. So he revealed the inner mysteries of what the Catholic Church was doing. So that was a no-no. That's why the Catholics hate him. It's like, you just showed out in public what we're doing. So same thing that Jesus was doing when he was taking the drugs out of the temple, the vessels in Mark 16, I believe it is. The vessels were being the merchandise. So he's giving this medicine to the people, and he's saying this is how you receive the visions. They have nothing good to offer that. This is all
out the secrets to the Gentiles.
Yes, you know, and that's one reason he was popular too. He accepted all different crowds. Yahweh was only for Jewish people or Canaanites, whoever worshipped him, really. Even one of Jesus' disciples was a Canaanite. There's Canaanites even followed Jesus. Some believed that he was Yahweh in the flesh and that his father was El, which is funny. So we had all these different beliefs showing that Christianity was never one movement. It was always all these different figures. That's why Jesus states, when I'm gone, go see James the Just. And after he was dead, even more factions split. Yeah. And what James would do was decide, you can come with me or you can be a part of the Gentile movement. You know,
and
there was
burnt at the stake. And then
I just cut out, Lorenzo.
Oh, you got Polycarp, who was burnt at the stake, and then you've got Manny the Manichaean, who was skinned alive.
Yep.
You know, yeah, they all like met a pretty horrible death. We don't know how Marcion died, though. I'm assuming he just was excommunicated, and we just never heard from him after that.
Same with Simon Magus. We don't know how he passed on as well. Also, you know, the story of Abraham and Isaac is mentioned by Theo. I mentioned a comment. We actually think that the original story of that is Abraham did sacrifice Isaac, as in the story, Abraham doesn't descend down the mountain with Isaac. So it's quite interesting as well. So that story, they reckon, was added in, which I think would make a bit of sense. I think, honestly, in my opinion, there'd be two stories, one that he was and one that he wasn't, I think. You know, so I believe that because there were different factions of Canaanites, different factions of Judaism. Not all accepted their text and viewed it as corrupt. Some completely rejected Job. Some completely rejected the story of Abraham as well. So it's interesting. So, but I think Abraham was a story of a mixture of Canaanite raiders. As if you go to, I'm going to read it as well, the original thing. I've got Septuagint here anyway, so it's in Genesis 14.13. I'll read this whole thing.
What is it? Genesis what?
14.13, you'll find Abraham the Parate being mentioned in there. They say it's Abraham the Hebrew, but it's a mistranslation.
Let me get to where. Let me get to it. Real quick.
It is.
Hold on. Let me get to it. You said 14, 15?
14.13.
Oh, 13. Yeah, a survivor came to tell Abram. Okay.
Yep. So it's got here, and one of those who had been rescued, which is his nephew, when he arrived, not just yet, he's going to rescue his nephew. This is someone from that camp of his nephew that's told Abraham his nephew's been taken. Told Abraham the immigrant, or the traveler, or Parate. So that word there, Parate, was associated with the Euphrates River, which was used by Canaanites and later by Muslims for piracy, to abduct women. All right, I'll continue reading. Now he, Amoris, used to live near the oak of Mamre, the brother of Eshcol and brother of Anon, who were confederates of Abraham. And when Abraham heard that his kinsman Lot had been taken captive, he counted his own homebreds or warriors, 318, so fighting men, and chased after them as far as Dan, and fell upon them during the night, he and his servants, and smote them and chased them away to Chobar, which is on the left of Damascus. Then he brought back all the cavalry of Sodana And he brought back his kinsman Lot and his possessions and the women and the people. So prisoners.
Hey, listen to this, bro. I'm going to read the same thing you just read from the New Jerusalem Bible. I want you to look at yours and see how much different it is.
Yeah, no worries. That was on the Septuagint. Copied from the original Hebrew.
Yeah. Look, here goes. A survivor came to tell Abram and Aner, the Hebrew, who was living at the oak of the Amorite Mamre, the brother of Eshcol. These were allies of Abram. When Abram heard that his kinsmen had been taken captive, he mustered his retainers born in his own household, numbering 318, and gave chase as far as Dan. He and his retainers deployed against them under cover of dark, defeated them, and pursued them as far as Hobah, north of Damascus. You said left, right?
It might have been. I have to look back up because
Yeah,
it's in Septuagint. I've got two versions here in front of me too. So.
Yeah, I got the Septuagint here too. So I want to do some comparative study because that's interesting. I think you said left, right?
Hybrids 318 chased after him as far as Dan, and he fell upon them night. No, it just says as far as Dan. It doesn't have north in here.
No. Keep going. Keep reading it.
As he fell upon them during the night, he and his servant, and smote them and chased them away to Chobar. Oh, yeah, it is, which is on the left of Damascus. Yes.
Yeah. Mine says north. Mine says north of Damascus.
Let's go into the English version I've got here as well. I've got another version here.
Now I'm going to go to the Septuagint because I have the Septuagint right here too.
Yeah, in this version here, it's got north. Are you going, Walter? Yeah.
I'll just keep quiet and not speak until I have something real bright to say.
This is how I do my comparative studies. I also have an 1873 Bible right here that I should pop out and see what it actually says.
Before you go, if you go into the Septuagint version, you can go out to the Greek text and you'll find where it says there, parate, where it says either traveler or it can also mean to wander through and plunder, to take their women. So Abraham is a pirate, like raider. That's why Jesus states in John 10.8, all those who came before me are thieves and pirates, the God of Abraham, the God of pirates, child marriage, human sacrifice, the God of Laestes. So predators, rebels of their own people. Even in the writings of Josephus, he claims that these messiahs were Laestes, not going matey pirate crap, but rebels. They were troublemakers. So causing acts of rebellion. So those people on the cross near Jesus, it doesn't state thieves. One text doesn't state what they are; they just state criminals, and the other one states Laestes. So they're rebels being crucified. It was very common on Jesus' birth. The village, before Jesus' birth, there was a village in front of it.
Okay, here we go.
It was burnt by the Romans, and there were crucifixions everywhere through that. They had lines of them being crucified rebels. So depending on how you use the term Laestes as well, but I see it as a full-on insult, that Jesus is using this term. And then when they come to arrest him, he says, you come out with swords and clubs to arrest me as if I was a Laestes. I was with you for days and you did not touch me, only for the scriptures to come true. So
it's silly how in the Bible it says, Jesus says that you're turning my father's house into a den of thieves. But that word thieves, it's not actually thieves, it's pirates, or it's something more sinister, and those pirates are not only, they got their hands on the money changing that's going on, the prostitution that's going on, the selling of livestock. Like a Laestes is more than just a thief that steals. A Laestes is someone who is like a gangster, like a fucking pirate who's got their hands in all types of crime.
It also states that you're turning this temple into a grotto. Keep in mind the Playboy grotto. This is what's going on. Like it states about in there, even with concubines being doves. I forgot exactly what text it states. But we have this virgin temple tradition. It was run by the Pharisees. The Sadducees were the ones that were exchanging money. So they were the ones in the ultimate making the profits on interest, charging high interest. But the Pharisees believing that the line of David, that was who they were bringing up. It wasn't just any girl. It was usually of the nobility. So those that were placed in the temple from the line of David, the belief that one would carry a Messiah. There's
And
a
like
text
nowadays,
that states that, Yahweh would punish the women line of David, either depending on how you view it, as prostitutes or just adulterous women.
yeah, nowadays you see people like Christians, they're convinced that the Bible was written in Latin, but it's actually a Greek translation. Like Christians that have, I've talked to, they don't know that. They don't know. They you see in nomine Patri et Filii, in Spiritus Sancti. It is Latin, but like it's actually from like Greek. This stuff is in the Greek, and you'll see it's like, listen to that though. Telephone, you get English, Latin, Greek. You're playing a game of telephone. You're getting a translation from Greek, translated into Latin, and then it's translated into English. So it's gone through 3 different translations before it even gets to us. And now we got the New English version, the NIV or whatever, the New International Version.
The Old Testament too. The Old Testament was written in Hebrew and Aramaic and bits of Greek, then all copied into Greek and then recopied back into Hebrew and Aramaic, because it was ultimately lost. And also the language was basically destroyed, and they had to reconstruct the language when the Romans kicked them out.
Jesus, or was it Bill Hicks? He says, and Jesus surfed the Galilee, and he said, awesome.
That was killer. But even with the whole Galilee region, like you see Jesus traveling by boat, going to different places. He's very different. He's not just going into one location teaching and healing. He's going to multiple different places, all the places that were rejected. Even some people were shocked that a Messiah figure would come from Nazareth. So even we have texts of him, say, being born in Bethlehem. It's more than likely that he was born in the Galilee. So we don't even really know where he was exactly born.
And what is this whole Jesus of Nazareth? Like what if he was born in Bethlehem or Galilee or whatever, wherever? Where do they get Nazareth from? And I've heard also Nazareth isn't even a real place. Hey, Fear, what's going on, brother? How are you?
What's going on, gentlemen? How are you doing?
We're on fire right now.
Right. I was commenting earlier, but no one was paying attention to the screen. So
no, we did. We put it up. We put them up.
No, like all y'all were in your books. You were in your phone, and then you were looking at the book, and then you were like facing the other way, away from the mic.
I was actually looking at what.
But no big deal. Like I don't care. Like I was like, they'll see the comment soon.
So what was your comment?
I just had it up here. I'll bring it back up. I was actually looking at one of his comments. Revelations 2:9. He had put up.
For I know thine work.
Right here, I was looking. That's what I was looking at.
Works. You will know them by their fruits.
Yes.
And I would say
their labor will bear fruits, but they know that. But he knows you by thine works.
That's right. Well, I would say that the devil is just another emanation of Yahweh. He's just one of Yahweh's buddies.
Well, he's just we talked about it with the word adversary. Let's go break it.
Yourself, the devil within, the evil within as well. All different sort of things. Depending on how you want to view
duality.
And then
yes.
What you bring forth, if you don't bring forth what is within you, what you don't bring forth will destroy you. And if you basically, there's that part of you that is you have the devil within you and you have good within you, and if you don't like bring it out, that whatever is bottled up inside you could eventually destroy you. Whatever traumas you have, whatever like pent up anger that you might have, it could basically turn on you, cause you to make mistakes or things that are not wise. That God or this devil deity is the god of ignorance, and then on the other hand you've got this Lucifer, who is the bringer of light, and in the Bible, it says that Lucifer is the morning star and the bringer of light. And it is also said, I can't pull up the verses right now, but Jesus is also the morning star and the light of the world. So
it's the duality.
I have something I'd like to read about a contradiction of Yahweh and Satan. Once you're done, Lorenzo,
go for it. I'm just over here. It's best to look wise with my mouth shut. You know what I mean?
This one's in 2 Samuel 24, and the other one is 1 Chronicles 21. We're going to see a massive contradiction here. And this is why I state that some Essenes believe that Yahweh was the Satan serving his father El, or that some Gnostics pointed out that this God's a dick. It's a contradiction of the text. As I said, these texts were not written by one Jewish lot. They were written by all different Jews. So, 24 of 2 Samuel. The Lord was angry with Israel once more, and he made David bring trouble on them. So, let's go now to 1 Chronicles 21. It wasn't too far away.
What is it? Which one was it?
That was 2 Samuel 24.
No, the one you're talking about now.
This one here now is 1 Chronicles 21.
2 Chronicles 21.
All right. I'm in my first now. I've got this
text.
Contradiction now. Yes. Satan wanted to bring trouble on the people of Israel, so he made David decide to take a census. So here we have a contradiction that Yahweh is the adversary, and then later on Satan, as this is what it means, that being anyone who's an adversary. So Yahweh is often an adversary against Israel. He sends angels to stop people, sometimes making them a Satan. So it's depending on the view of what Satan was. The Pharisees believed that Satan was an angel in God's court, which is what not all, but most modern Jews believe today, as the modern rabbinic Judaism today came from the Pharisees, which is why they would take out texts that would favor Jesus. You find many hateful texts over Jesus in the Talmud. The reason why is because he called them out on their disgusting nature. They don't want to be looked like the bad guys. It's not cool to be associated with, pedos. Is the nicest way of saying it. So they would insult Jesus, state that he would be burning in excrement and all that sort of stuff, but yet that's a contradiction to them, as they don't really believe in hell. So it's like a punishment within Sheol or whatever. It's contradictory. Like even Paul, like if there was a Paul, if there wasn't two or three, or if it wasn't Simon Magus, I think a lot of the good stuff, all Simon Magus, and a lot of the crappy stuff was Paul, as he was an ex-Pharisee. And he believed that Jesus was the first of the resurrection of the dead. But we have all these other contradictions that are very much Gnostic. We have a couple that Paul helps, and basically they end up getting married. But Simon Magus is the one that introduced them and got them married and married them. So I forgot the couple's name. I made it in one of my other videos going into it. But there's a lot of deeds that Simon Magus did that were similar. Even Marcion, both Marcion, Paul, and even Simon Magus all wrote their own text. Very similar. Not only this, but Simon Magus was also influential in Rome. He would give money, basically. Well, Marcion would try to basically buy his way into the bishophood. Paul would try to donate money to James the Just in the early Christian movement, which was basically rejected by them. So we have some similarities as well. We have Simon Magus being told off by Peter and then apologizing and asking them to pray for him, which is, again, I think a later added in text to discredit Simon Magus, as Simon Magus was even worshipped as Christ, which is interesting. And one thing that made him so famous, and why many Gnostic Christians were rescuing women and children from brothels, is Simon Magus' wife, Helen, was a child that was rescued from a brothel. And later on, she became a Christian ministry, joined it and became a Christian minister in her own right, a preacher, a leader, and she married Simon Magus, and the two were seen as the masculine and feminine nature of Sophia, or even Christ.
Much like Mary Magdalene. She's like a Mary Magdalene figure. And some people believe that Simon Magus was the Christ. He was known as the Great Power. He's a book, or what was it called? The Great Declaration was attributed to Simon Magus. Some say it might not be his own writing, but some do. Some say could be a document written by Simon Magus, the great power. But yeah, he was like this Christ. He could have been the Christ. They say he amazed the people of Sumeria. He was Simon the magician, So yeah,
his son was deified too. So he had a son, and his son was deified. So
oh wow, yeah, and like many people were deified. Like they call it a apotheosis, where a man becomes like a god. Like every emperor or king of Rome was called Caesar or whatever. All the emperors that eventually like rose to power were Caesar. There was more than one Caesar. They called each emperor Caesar if he was an incarnation of Caesar. So that was
king,
God
or king. They called them kings, God. It was all under the same title.
Even Son of God has a deep meaning that Christians of today totally don't know, because they don't study into Judaism. In the Jewish meaning, it means someone who has a personal spiritual relationship with God, a regular human being who would have a greater understanding of God and the law, or of God's will, who lives in accordance to God, is a son of God. In Greek, the meaning of it is someone who has been reborn and adopted by God, hios to theo. And this meaning of reborn and adoption, to realize that you're a son of God, so to be reborn in spirit. So even the church fathers were even complaining of many of the translations from Greek to Latin, even complaining on, I think, was it metamonia for repent, Lorenzo?
Repent is a harmatia, or harmatia.
Yeah.
No, harmatia meant sin, but what is it? Repentance, metanoia.
Metanoia. Thank you. Metanoia. Well, that Greek word, they complained about translating it into Latin, as they're two different meanings. So in Latin, it would come from the Mr. Mark, but in Greek, it means a change of the inner man or a change of the mind.
Yeah.
So change of mind.
So yeah, there was that. Yeah, the concept of sin, but pretty much just meant to miss the mark. Like coming from the word, from archery, to miss the mark. But the metanoia is like from meta, which is like beyond, and then noia, like paranoia, is like a splitting of the mind. So the noia is the mind, and the metanoia is to think beyond your normal mental state, or to alter or change your perspective.
Right.
So yeah, pretty much the metanoia is to alter your perspective and think beyond your normal state of thinking.
Split your mind.
That was what Jesus and John the Baptist were both preaching, was a change of inner mind.
Yeah, so whenever somebody comes to a point in their life where they've gone down such a path where they've missed the mark so much, they've pretty much could fall to their knees, raise their hands to God, and be like, please, change my mind, and that's usually at that point where they have a change of heart and a change of mind. And that metanoia is what will, realign them to that path, Yeah. So yeah, metanoia, bring you back to your senses, or to your proper state and the path that you should be on.
Which is another connection to the Son of God as well, was that inner change, that inner transformation, which goes into that rebirth.
And to get back on the subject, that the devil is this god of ignorance, and the one that causes us to continue to miss the mark, to misunderstand.
See, that's what one of my comments earlier was for. Like that's the difference between the influence and willpower. We can have the influence, but we are the catalyst for our own decisions. So no one makes us do anything.
And a lot of people like to have the scapegoat because they don't want to face their own mistakes and their own actions, or just face the chance that one time they were a dick, or they still are. No, it's not. It's even a lot of bad guys don't want to see themselves as the bad guy. They see themselves as the good guys. You see this in a lot of supervillains. Not always. Some of them are just dicks and know they're dicks and they're out to spread chaos in the movies, whatever, but some don't realize they're a bad guy.
Right? And like people always say, the devil made me do it. The devil made me do it. Like, no, the devil didn't make you do it. Your hands were the one that made the actions. It's so the only difference is influence and willpower. And
or a lack of knowledge can cause someone to miss the mark. To misunderstand and miss the point. So a lack of knowledge will lead you into
but that's just ignorance, though.
And so you got the cross there for the early Hebrew. That would make sense to why also Jesus stands there, who carries their cross as well, right?
Yeah, I put that up there because
transforms it beyond them.
Yeah, I put that up there because missing the mark was mentioned, in ancient Hebrew. I have actually had the great honor speaking to Jeff Benner on my podcast, and he's a Hebrew scholar, great one. This is his website, actually. And, the cross in early Hebrew, it was like a T, lowercase t. Middle Hebrew, it was an X. Late Hebrew, it looked like an N almost. In modern Hebrew, it looks like that. And then,
you can even say the mark of Cain is just a reference to sin as well.
In ancient name was Ta.
You're missing that mark.
Yeah, and the pictographic script for it was cross sticks. I always talk about pictographic scripts. The meaning was mark, sign, signal, or monument, and the sound was a T. And the ancient picture is a type of mark, probably of two sticks crossed to mark a place similar to the Egyptian hieroglyph, the T. That's where you actually get the first initial Christian cross is from ancient Egypt, the hieroglyph, right?
Because you can show on the screen too, Tyrone. Do you reckon you could pull up the Wisdom of Solomon in Greek, 2.24?
Wisdom of
Solomon.
Solomon.
Yeah. I read it already in English, but I'd like you to show the audience because many scholars don't realize that there is a reference to in the Old Testament to the devil. It's just that it's not a part of the canonical Old Testament. It's a part of what's been rejected because different forms of Essenes, different forms of Judaism. Wisdom of Solomon, 2.24.
And I got a whole bunch of people on my Facebook watching the stream. I want to say hi to my son, Raven. Hey, how's it going, buddy? Yeah, my son's watching. I'll keep the language to a minimum, I guess.
You said Solomon, Wisdom of Solomon 2. What?
24.
24, 2.24. Okay,
yeah, and you find there, and with the Greek there, devil being mentioned, which is cool. So the Essenes of which were very different. Not all of them believed in the devil. Some did. Some believed that the devil was the ruler of this world, was Yahweh, as they didn't believe that this world was created by God because it was imperfect, very Gnostic. We also had some that believed that the Magrahia, for instance, which were 1st century BC era Gnostic Jews, they existed around the same time as this text was written. So they believed that the demiurge was the creator of this world, but created it under the orders of the Most High God. So they're very different beliefs as regarding the Judaism. All right, then, 2.24. Might be 25. Let me just grab my Septuagint again. Just make sure I did give you the right.
We got to add also that God is love, and the opposite of love is not hate, it's fear. And we got fear on the show right now. So
that's why
read full. Put on feet. Oh yeah, or devil. It's right there. Or devil. Read full chapter, because what that is there, that's a censor right here, bro. This is the Greek text being translated back into Hebrew, and this is how they try to hide you, the cheeky fucks. Sorry for swearing, but yeah, in the Greek text it shows. So it's got devil in there, but again, because the Hebrew people lost their language and they want to retranslate back the text, that goes into Hebrew. But the Christians don't want you to see this. So what they're doing is, and I've noticed a lot with some of the Greek Septuagint text on Bible Hub, they're bad for it too. They try to show you the Hebrew translation, not the original Greek, and that's horrible. So it's even censorship in the modern world, retranslating it back into Hebrew, where they can't do that because they're translating it from in a modern Hebrew sense, not an ancient sense. Yeah, so 2.24 from 20. Might want to go down a bit more. So I've got here on mine. But yeah, one way I found it was when I typed in on Google, I typed in Greek Septuagint version of Wisdom of Solomon 2.24. I could do it on my phone. I could probably just share the screen with you on my end if I find it. I'll have a quick look too.
I can.
Like, I might be
I'm
lucky.
gonna look it up on my. Because I have my Greek Septuagint right here. You said
2.24.
actually, let's see. Yeah, I'm looking it over now. Wisdom of Solomon. Oh dang. Wisdom.
I prefer Sophia's wisdom over Solomon's.
Yeah, 100%. That's what I'm saying we do as well.
What did you find it? Which one it was?
Might have.
I got my Septuagint right here.
Yeah, go to 24, 2.24. You're in chapter 2.
Chapter 2, 24. I gotta scroll. I'm on my Kindle. Chapter 2, 24. Why is it doing that? What the heck? What's going on? Something ain't right. Hold on. Let me do this again.
Another version here. It's
Wisdom,
got nevertheless.
All right, 24. You said. Why did it do that?
Shoot, yeah, trying to hide it. I'm having trouble trying to find the English thing next to it as well.
Yeah, I can't even find it, bro.
Yeah, being dodgy. But yeah, it's got, but through the devil's envy, death entered the world, and those who belong to his company experience.
Hold on. Say that slower. I can do it. I can
I believe it's the Greek word it's got as diablos. I think it's mentioned in there or something. But through the devil's envy entered the world, and those who belong to his company experience it.
Through the devil's envy. Hold on, let me type that in. Okay, yeah, here we go. All right, so it's on. Okay, yeah. Nevertheless, through envy of the devil came death into the world, and they that do hold of his side do find it. Is that what you was talking about?
Yeah, can you read that again to me? Sorry.
Yeah, it says, nevertheless, through envy of the devil came death into the world, and they that do hold of his side do find it.
Yeah, so you're reading the actual Septuagint version there. So that's what I mean. Like, there's a censorship even now. I hate a lot of some modern translations, man, because they just suck. They just try to hide it. There's even Septuagint versions translated back into Hebrew to try to hide the fact that Abraham was Abraham the Parate, not Abraham the Hebrew. It's like, what? But yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy with the censorship.
Hey, so what I'm gonna do
with the Apocrypha.
Yeah, cool. This is an 1861 version. Now I'm about to go grab my 1873 Bible, my actual 1873 Bible, to see what it says in there.
And don't forget Hades. Hades was an evil figure, the god of the underworld. And then we got the god of Pan. Pan was considered like the god of the wilderness and the unknown terrain. Oh fuck! What the heck? Dang! Is that like authentic, like original shit?
This is original, bro. This is
nice. You get the flea market. You whack that online for a chunk of money, bro.
Fucker's huge too.
I'm about to see what it says in here.
It's got a clip on it and everything.
Yeah, I gotta be careful with it. Let me grab this pillow.
Holy shit! What'd that cost you?
That's my thing.
Oh no!
The etchings.
There we go.
Or one of the pictures.
Wisdom of Solomon, right?
Yeah, Wisdom of Solomon.
You said
2.24.
Yeah. Okay, hold on. Because I got it right here.
And the Queen of Sheba.
Okay, chapter 1, chapter 2, 21, you said? 24, 24.
2.24.
Yeah, here we go. It says, nevertheless, through envy of the devil came death into the world, and they that do hold of his side do find it.
So any Bible scholars listening here that says that the devil wasn't introduced until the New Testament, we got some Gnosticism.
It's in my 1861.
That's right. And that's the thing too. Gnostics are people that, the modern Gnostic is mostly like a biblical scholar, usually a scholar of the New Testament, and we actually read the Bible. There's many Christians, Protestants, and Catholics, like they go to church. I go to church every Sunday. But do you read the Bible? Oh no, Many Christians nowadays, they just fist pump from the pews and shout, "Amen, amen," while somebody else is reading the Bible for them. So
pretty much.
So yeah, like you get they're usually good people, with good intentions, but they're not Bible scholars. They're not people that actually read the Bible. They don't know really what's in the Bible. And modern Gnostics are people that actually are into this stuff, that actually want to know the truth and actually dig. And as a modern Gnostic myself, I see the difference between the God of the New Testament and the God of the Old Testament, just like many church fathers in the beginning, before Orthodoxy and before Constantine claimed Christianity as the state religion. There were many people that identified Yahweh with the demiurge, and this was not a good person, a good deity or whatever. And the God of the New Testament is Jesus, who brought love, forgiveness, salvation. And then there's this God of the Old Testament who's constantly testing people like Job. He's causing trials for people. He's demanding child sacrifice. He damn near wiped out civilization in the time of Noah. He's a murderer. And he, there's two different gods we're talking about here. This God of the Old Testament is an evil deity, an evil creator who created an imperfect world, and we were all thrown in it, born into sin, or whatever you want to call it. This creation is imperfect. Therefore, the flesh that we are in, the sparks that have been trapped in this realm, are subject to this evil. So yeah, the God of the Old Testament is not our Father Jesus Christ, the one who brought redemption and salvation, who redeemed us from the old creator. Yeah. The light of the world. Yeah. The Jesus Christ figure is the God of the New Testament. And you can clearly, if you read the Bible, you can clearly see the God of the Old Testament is not a good guy.
A very evil character, for sure.
Yeah, sorry for my rant, but yeah, I can't stress this enough. That if you want to look for the devil, you might find him in the Old Testament.
Yes. I find out this old text as well. I'll read a bit of Septuagint from Deuteronomy. But if you want, I can give you something to look up, Tyrone, as well, regarding some Dead Sea Scroll plates that state about Yahweh inheriting Israel. It's in Deuteronomy.
Yeah, I'm just putting this book up now. I'm just putting all my stuff up right now.
That's all right. I can read this text bit here once I found it, and I think I have 32.8 to 9. Where am I? Right here. Check this out. When the Most High was appointing nations, he scattered Adam's sons. He fixed boundaries of nations according to the number of divine sons, and his people, Jacob become the Lord's portion, Israel a measured part of his inheritance. So inheriting from the Most High. In the Dead Sea Scrolls, we actually see here El Elyon dividing up the portions of the lands to the Elohim, his son, so other gods, and Yahweh receives his portion, that is Israel. So he's inheriting it. So again, yeah, different gods. Now, a lot of Jews in the time didn't renounce the fact that there were other gods. They just chose to worship one, whether it was Yahweh or El. They would merge Yahweh and El together due to Yahweh being too violent. And the Jewish people, when they were still wandering Canaanite tribes, raiding people, couldn't successfully win all their battles. So they realized that our God's too much of a dick. We can't solve our problems through raiding. We're getting our asses kicked in war by our bigger neighbors. We need a God of love. And so Yahweh got mixed in with El. Some Canaanites didn't even want to worship El because he was too loving and they couldn't go out raiding. So it's like, what? This God's all love and perfect. I can't take that woman in battle. Nah. You know, like, people were dicks. Especially in ancient past. It was seen as your God-given right. And this is between ancient Jews, even Christians, and especially Muslims, that you could take women as your property.
That's
Yahweh
right,
was fine with this. Yahweh orders it, but Jesus is against this, stating
Preach on,
God.
Nathan. Preach on, Brother
Yes.
Nathan. You had like 4 or 5 mic
Yeah.
drops today already.
Hey,
Have
Rebirth,
you ever
check
checked out
that.
some Eucharist, that's what word. Ugaric text, or Ugaric, or however the word's pronounced. But in one of these texts, we have El Elyon and his sons, the Elohim and his daughters, responding because El got too drunk and they had to carry him home to his divine home, you know, to heaven. He got too drunk. So we have a loving deity that sometimes is really jolly and gets drunk. That's not every belief of El, obviously. That's just one, you know, aspect of him. We had all different beliefs of what El was. We had Essenes that would not associate El with any idol, that believed he was totally unknowable and both masculine and feminine, the concept of both Asherah and El. So a union, a wife. We also had this with Yahweh. We also had it with Baal. We even had Canaanites that believed Yahweh was Baal, or different gods or brothers. So all these different beliefs were going around in ancient time. Half of them were fighting each other and rooting each other. You know, so it's friends one day, enemies next. Crazy world.
Right. You've had like 5 mic drops today, Nathan. That's what's up.
Yeah, I did.
awesome.
I don't see him. I'm about to send him a message again. I don't see him. He's not on here.
That's right.
But he's gone.
He must have decided not to wait no more.
That's right. And I want to give a couple shout outs to, you know, Jason Jones there, you know, of Gnostic Catholic Union. You know, holler out to everybody, say hi. You know, even Bill Thomas, I don't know, wherever you are, brother. You, and then who else? Who else can we shout out to?
Everyone. Many blessings.
Yeah.
When in doubt,
Everybody that's
everyone.
listening. Everybody that's listening. Yeah, but
Yeah. Bishop Jason Jones is proud of us. He's over. Yeah, I know he's probably watching.
you know, it's just interesting the
I love hearing
different,
Jason.
you know, the different characteristics, personalities, and of these adversaries. No matter how you look at them, you know, what I wanted to go back to, because I marked everything that I wanted to talk about. Genesis 3 says, "Now the snake was the most subtle of all wild animals that Yahweh God had made. It asked the woman, did God really say you were not to eat from any of the trees in the garden?" So we basically know the whole story about Adam and Eve and stuff like that. And that neither the devil, Satan, or Lucifer is mentioned about the eating from the tree of knowledge or telling anybody to eat from the tree of knowledge, right?
Well,
It's the
there's also
snake.
2 creation stories. You know,
Yeah.
we get one from Genesis, and then we got another from the Nag Hammadi. And is it the Apocryphon of John? I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think under there's one of Adam as well. So there's a couple of texts referring to the Garden of Eden story within.
I might have to go get my. I might have to go get my Nag Hammadi. I might have to.
Adam as well, or Apocalypse of Adam.
Yeah, the Apocalypse of Adam. Yeah.
See, the
Yeah.
New Jerusalem Bible says snake. I'm not gonna pull my.
The nature of the rulers as well, the origin of the world as well as another one.
Yeah.
So,
Do you own a Nag Hammadi, Tyrone?
Yeah.
Yeah, I got one.
All
I
right.
got two versions in a sense. I got this one, but that one I lent to my cousin. So shout out to Andrew if he watches this.
Yeah, I
It has-
lost. I thought I lost one, and then I bought another one, and then I gave it
Okay.
to a friend of mine. So he's
Get
got one.
yourself The Lost Scriptures by Bartley Herman.
How's it going?
God saw
going?
us, source incarnate. What's up,
Yeah.
brother?
How's it going, you guys?
All right.
Good.
I was listening to your conversation.
That's what's up. You brought your 2 cents or what?
Yeah. So
That's what's up.
I was there, Gandalf, 3,000 years ago.
All right. All right.
Well, it's true though. So I was one of these individuals who went through the Godhead and then became the demiurge and said the name and then started this place up again. And so my brother, I don't know if he's published on this exactly, but we've talked about this through the years. You guys know my brother, Philip Newman?
Not sure.
Let's see. Angels in Vermilion, Tripping the Ghost Trail, Alchemically Stoned, The Psychedelic Secrets of Freemasonry. He put that out like 5 years ago.
Oh shit! No,
I
I don't
might
recall.
have heard the last one, I think. Last one, but I'll do the back Tyrone and everyone else. I'm just going to take a leak.
Yeah.
Back conclusion.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, it's
Okay.
the idea is that, you know, the demiurge may not be Yahweh. You know, they may be two. Yeah, they may be two completely separate ideas.
There's also the Abraxas figure
Mhm.
who embodies both good and evil. The Abraxas.
That reminds me of
Can't forget Abraxas.
the Abramelin ritual. Is this part of? I don't know if you've ever been
Yeah,
to, like, the cult
I
rituals.
read
Yeah.
I read the Abramelin, the ritual
Is
that
that how
takes
it's pronounced?
16 months.
I had that wrong.
Takes about 16 months. It's the ritual so you can speak with your holy guardian angel.
Mhm.
Yeah. By is it Samuel L. McGregor Mathers? I think
I'm
it's
not
Samuel
sure.
McGregor Mathers.
But
I don't think
this thing that shakes the foundations of your matrix, you know, certain people have experienced it on DMT and salvia, and you know, the walls begin to vibrate, and then it's like your little color box is disassembled or unzipped in some way, and then you're in the darkness or doth, the abyss.
Crossing the Abyss. I know a little about Crossing the Abyss.
Okay, let's hear about that. I got you. I got you.
With the was it the Ford chief, the what is it called, the chiefs or whatever, shoot, I can't recall, but yeah, there's these chiefs. Once you cross the abyss, you get to speak with these chiefs. I can't recall the mythology or the whatever. I know it's Crowleyan. I know it's Crowleyan stuff.
Beard, didn't you have an experience of coming across individuals in the abyss? Like they were meditating?
No, no, I was in the empty space.
Okay, I'm mixing that. You and Fletcher both have fascinating stories. Yeah. That's,
Let me
What's up?
hold on.
Let's check my bank quickly. I've got some money.
So yeah, my brother is working with Dr. Greg Little right now to try and catalog the Mississippi Huasca. So he got to name this the indigenous ayahuasca from the Mississippi Valley. And working with the UFO guys and also with my brother on this, we've come to an understanding. I don't know if you guys follow Hugh Newman and the Megalithomania guys. Anyway, so and there's a science aspect to this too with the toroidal moment. So when these plasma things are coming down into the underground chalk aquifer underneath the UK, the largest chalk aquifer in the world, then these plasmas are going down and leaving an imprint of their wake, and that's what we're calling crop circles. So this is a natural thing, and it seems like they built the pyramids in order to replicate this effect of pulling down like powerful, intelligent plasma into a chamber for usage.
Would you consider those adversaries? Like, what would you think? Like from the Gnostic side, Nathan, what would you think from the Gnostic side? What he said.
Well, I was just waiting for the thing because I was about to ask if you would be all right without me on the thing because I've still got my friend here waiting who was taking his dog to the vet. Okay. So I was going to see if I could make a cruise on this one and jump in on the next one. If you want me before, I can answer the question, but I was going to get you to repeat it just because I had to send my mate a message on the phone.
Oh, so, no, it's okay. Go ahead. No, I know you was taking care of your friend and the dog, bro. Go ahead. Do what you gotta do. Okay. Yeah.
All right, no worries, guys. It was lovely chatting to you all. Good meeting you by the way God saw us. Sorry about the late leave mid-second. But have a fantastic day, everyone. I wish you all many blessings. Thank you so much for having me, Tyrone, and take care as well, Lorenzo, and take care here. Much love, all of you. Take care, guys. Sorry about that. Peace and love.
All right, man.
All right.
Take it easy, bro.
See you later.
So yeah, okay. So where this all ties together.
Well, you know what?
Yeah.
I'm gonna end this one and restart another one. Then.
I just got here. Okay.
No, we're gonna start another one.
Well, bring me up early.
Sure. We've already been going. It's been going for about an hour and a half or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
So before it gets too long and we get into something else, it'd probably be good to just.
I started off and sending out the links real quick.
All right, give me 5 minutes, and I'll jump in on the link.
All right.
All right. Gotcha. Send me the link too.
Gotcha.
Okay.